Right.
Yeah, it's like at that cadence.
We went through this exact same thing the last time I was.
Yeah, it's never going to sound right because there's a slight delay when you hear each other's, so don't worry about that.
And it's always a cold open. Just it can never fail.
I know. I remember you threw it on in the last cold opening. I said, don't put this on, and you did.
You got it. Here we go. One more time. 1, 2, 3.
Well done, everybody.
That was beautiful. You guys are synced up beautiful. I think we actually nailed that. There it is.
Good work, everyone.
Welcome to Predator Minute, the podcast that breaks down the 1987 action sci-fi classic Predator 1 minute at a time. I'm John Zabriskie.
And I am Jeff Glover.
And joining us for the 5th time this podcast is Eric Deutsch.
Hello. I'm so excited to return one more time.
Thank you, Eric Deutsch, joining us from the Flash Gordon Minute and the Escape from New York Minute podcasts.
I believe Eric has been on the show as a guest more than anyone else, except for maybe your brother, John?
Yeah. Aaron and you definitely have asterisks because...
Right.
You were both co-hosts of the show.
Right.
So I would say outside of anybody who hosted the show officially, Eric would be the heavyweight champion as it stands right now.
I'm a little speechless. Wow.
Congratulations to Eric. You'll be receiving your plaque in the mail in just a couple days. Black.
Eric first joined us for a couple of minutes during the heated discussion between Dutch and Dylan. You set us up.
It's all bullshit.
You set us up. It's all bullshit.
That conversation. So one of our better dramatic line reads of our podcast.
True.
And then he joined minute 70 and 71 when Mac and Dylan are planning planning their big attack on the Predator, which ultimately didn't go so well, but Eric was there to at least partner with us in discussing things.
Absolutely. So thank you, Eric, once again for coming back. We're really excited to have you.
Oh, I was very excited that you guys asked me to come on again.
Yeah, awesome. It's good to have you. And we're talking minute 92 of Predator. And if you haven't seen from my notes already, we're in that stage of the podcast, this third act in the 90s, where we are talking about what the number actually means a little bit before we jump into the minute. So I hope you'll indulge us here, Eric, and feel free to throw in your own thoughts anytime. About what 92 or
anytime. Nice.
1992 might mean. So just knocking the numbers out of the way first, like the number 92 in sports would be Reggie, the Minister of Defense White, Haloti Nada, Michael Strahan, James Harrison, and Brandon Meebane, who I threw in because I know you guys are Seahawks fans.
Seahawk. Another fantastic nickname you found here, the Minister of Defense.
That one stands out to me because playing John Madden football way back in the early 90s, like the simplest of graphics, they would hardly ever have like extra banner words. They would like just say kind of like go Titans, not Titans, go Packers or whatever. But when you did play as, I can't remember, was it the Eagles in the early 90s or the Packers? I can't remember. At some point, Reggie White moved from the Eagles to the Packers, but whatever team, whenever you had him as like on your home team in the stands, like someone would have a sign that said the Minister of Defense, and I was just so impressed that like it was that specific. He was super popular.
That's
Not
great.
only that, but he was one of those defensive players in those early Madden games where he was unstoppable. He would sack the quarterback like every play.
Yes, I believe he's still the leader in sacks. He and Strahan are up there. I know that.
He was like the defensive version of Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl.
Yes.
Yes.
Unstoppable. Yes.
Yeah,
or like Lawrence Taylor in Tecmo Bowl.
Right. Our list of sequels is less impressive this time, John.
It's a little bit less impressive. You have
still some good ones, though.
Yeah, still some good ones. Home Alone 2, Lethal Weapon 3, Batman Returns, Meatballs 4, Alien 3, Pet Sematary 2, Hellraiser 3. Where else to go? Then a bunch of movies with numbers in it. So Jennifer 8, Love Potion number 9, Malcolm 10, Passenger 57, Highway 61, K2, Article 99, and 1492. And before anybody tweets me, I know it's not Malcolm 10. I know it's Malcolm X, but I had to throw that in there.
I was wondering. I was like, "What's Malcolm 10?"
Yeah, I got to be honest. That joke went over my head too.
That's funny.
So kind of a bunch of like the weird, I'd say, black sheep of sequels are coming out then.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Hellraiser 3 in the movie theater.
Oh God, are you okay? That's when the Hellraiser movies really started to go downhill. Although 3 is not as bad. There's like 8 or 9 whatever Hellraiser movies.
There's a lot of them.
And they just get really shitty. 1 and 2 are pretty great, but 3 I remember as being not so good, and I think it just went downhill from there. But some good sequels there. Lethal Weapon 3. Alien 3, that causes a lot of controversy in the Alien fandom world, but I think it's a decent addition.
Yeah, it's kind of like the weird one after Aliens.
Yeah. It's like it's the one where she's like on that planet with all the blue collar like workers, and there's a lot of sort of like socioeconomic undertones to it. I think.
Yeah,
it was a little heady. Yeah, for an Alien movie, I felt like.
Is she a clone in that one? I forget.
Oh, maybe. It's been a while since I watched it.
Been a while. Yeah.
Been a while.
Let's see. I had to include Medicine Man because John McTiernan directed it, but I've never seen that one. That might be one that I have to add to my list because.
Oh, is that the one with Sean Connery?
Downhill. Yes, that's the one with Dude.
Dude. That's one that was on cable a lot when I was a kid that I've actually seen weirdly a lot of times. Yeah. He plays like a white man living in like the jungle with like an indigenous tribe, and he's doing a bunch of research and looking for medicines that he can take to the rest of the world. It's interesting.
So it's like Aaron.
Yeah, your brother. Oh. It's like it should just be called Your Brother.
Welcome to Zimbabwe. Yes. I love it.
Yeah, I'm the medicine man.
I never saw that one, but for some reason, I still remember 30 years later a line from the trailer for it, and I don't know if it maybe I saw a lot of movies that summer, and so I saw the trailer a lot, but I just remember I found the cure for the cancer of the 20th century, and now I've lost it.
What don't you understand? I found a cure for the fucking plague of the 20th century, and now I've lost it.
Yes. I was trying to remember the line, and that's what it is. I've lost it.
I found a cure for the fucking plague of the 20th century, and now I've lost it.
Yeah, and I don't know why I would remember such a thing.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. I've lost it. I remember that too. That's great.
Oh, that's gonna be the big drop right here. I love it.
Oh, nice pull. All right.
I found a cure for the fucking plague of the 20th century, and now I've lost it.
Yeah, before I move on, and if you guys have anything else to add, you can add it too. But I had to write down some games here. On the SNES, you had Zelda: A Link to the Past, Super Mario Kart, Street Fighter 2, and TMNT 4, and Contra 3 as like the big games. I had those. Oh, and Mario Paint. Aaron and I played these to death back in the early 90s. These are like a huge pivotal moment in video gaming for us.
Yeah, Super Mario Kart was a big one for me.
Oh, huge.
And Street Fighter 2, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed some music you listed here, and I won't talk about everything, but last minute we discussed how in the 90s there was a trend where a movie's release was paralleled by a song from its soundtrack, and the video to that song was also basically a commercial for the movie, right? It was like this large, commercial push. And so you listed "I Will Always Love You," and that's from The Bodyguard, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That was another one, right? Where like that song was like a commercial for that movie and vice versa.
Yes. Yeah. And I think last minute we talked about 91. So that was a couple of them, right? That was Prince of Thieves with Bryan Adams. Gosh, how am I drawing a blank? What's the song from that?
Everything I do it for you.
There it
Thank
is.
you, Eric. But what's the song for that? Oh, I walked right into that one. Yeah. Everything I do it for you. And the other one from last minute was T2 and the Guns N' Roses song "You Will Be Mine."
And I mentioned Seal from Batman Forever, but that comes later. We'll talk about that more later, I'm sure. Yeah.
That was another big one.
All right, nice. Well, are we talking about Predator this minute?
I love this segue. It's become like that's your segue. Then I have one for you much later. Let's talk about the actual minute of Predator. So, minute 92 of Predator opens with Dutch looking into the jungle, and it ends with Dutch looking at some predator blood. KY jelly.
The glow in the dark kind.
Yeah, exactly.
We will break this minute up into 2 parts, and we're going to break it up exactly into 2 parts. We're going to look at the first 30 seconds and the second 30 seconds.
Exactly.
We carry over from last minute. Dutch is looking into the misty jungle from behind some boulders. He picks up a small rock and flings it into a nearby cliff face. Cut to the Predator vision. We see the Predator is watching the falling rock. The Predator's red triangle target sights the falling rock and then fires a laser at the rock. Cut to Dutch peeking his head around the rocks and grass to see the source of the laser. He hoists his spear, the one without the knife, and then moves around the boulder. End of first part.
That is a nice boulder.
It's a nice boulder. This is fun. We're really kind of getting into the cat and mouse portion of this act, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to go both ways, this minute and next minute. So, hoping Eric can come back next week, possibly to talk about the wraparound of the cat and the mouse.
Maybe.
I hope so too.
Yeah. We'll see how this minute goes first and see if you want to stick around. But yeah, I didn't have a ton of notes from this minute, but part of that was due to having a guest to help bring some observations. But I think something that I saw. Well, actually, you're the guest, Eric. What stands out to you? What am I doing? I'm so bad.
So see, everything you do, you don't do for me.
Nice.
There were a few things in the first half. I guess going in chronological order. The first one is Arnold gets this, has this epiphany, and he gets this look on his face that he had this incredible realization of, I'm going to pick up this rock and I'm going to throw it, and it just, to me, just the expression on his face is almost like, I accidentally discovered the theory of relativity when it's really just let me throw this rock. It just didn't seem that, the epiphanous face that he makes really matched up with what it is he realized he should do.
You guys, I have an idea. I will throw this rock.
It is a great face. I'm freezing it. It's about second 7 that his gaze lowers from the trees to this rock in a very contemplative manner. I can't believe I just saw this.
And then they highlight it when he throws the rock. Did you guys notice they slow it down a little bit? The rock throw is almost in slow motion.
It's so dramatic. It's it's not his throw that's slowed down. That's a normal speed, but the rock falling against the cliff face or the rock face is definitely slowed down. And it's even slowed down in Predator vision, which is kind of questionable because the Predator vision itself seems to be moving at normal speed, but the rock is still moving in slow-mo.
Maybe that's supposed to show us how quickly the Predator vision is actually moving.
It's moving, like Quicksilver style. Like he's moving. Sorry, Jeff, you don't understand that reference, but
I don't.
Quicksilver is one of the members of the X-Men. Do I have that right? At least he's in the X-Men movies. He's in the Marvel movies, and he's a character who can not slow down time. He can move so quickly that to him, the rest of the environment is going at a very slow pace.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the graphics here of the Predator's targeting system from his perspective? I think this is pretty cool. I love these 80s sort of computer video game graphics that we get here.
Is this I think it's very cool. Is this the first time that we're seeing this graphic?
I think it's the first time. I think it is the first time we're seeing the graphic. I'm trying to remember the other times.
I think it's the first time we see it from his perspective.
His perspective?
Yeah, we've seen the triangle laser.
Right.
But I think this is the first time we see it from his vision. And it's pretty fun. Like, it definitely, like, harkens back to, like I said, kind of the 80s style video game or arcade games, you know?
Oh, sure. Reminds me of, like, the Star Wars video games, like, in the early 80s where everything is, like, wireframe, but it's still three-dimensional. Like, you're going into the trench of the Death Star.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all, like, just kind of, like, these polygonal lines making up these bigger shapes, almost like Star Fox, or harkening back to Eric's podcast, kind of like Escape from New York in the time he's in the glider in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, Star Fox is a good call because Star Fox literally has like a triangle sight. It's very similar. Yeah. But I think this is a cool transition. Like, so we get this kind of slowed down rock. I'm wondering if they slowed that down because in real time it just went so fast it was hard to maybe even see.
I thought the same thing. I think if it was shown in real time, I don't think the audience would have even seen the rock.
Yeah, so they slow it down, but then they do a good job of like quick cut to predator vision, and we also see the rock kind of slow down, flying across the screen, and then cut into this awesome targeting system, and then we see that laser blast from the trees, almost taking out Dutch's head. This is a pretty cool sequence, and again we get the explosion with the sparks. I love all the sparks. Like there's just a shitload of fireworks going off in the jungle.
It's pretty cool, yeah, how he's using that laser sight, how that laser just blasts the crap out of the rock. To me, what was really impressive was the speed at which he's reacting. He targets that rock, and if we're to believe that this is a little bit slow motion, then it's maybe a second that it takes him to target and then fire. It's not wasting any time. He's not messing around. If he's thinking this is Dutch, he's still out to kill. Yeah. Right away. He's still going for that kill shot right away. There's that cowardly distance he's still keeping.
Is he targeting the center of the rock?
Targets the center of the rock. Wow.
Full circle, you guys. Full circle.
Full circle.
That is a cool shot of like the laser like coming out of nowhere when the Predator shoots. It made me think of in Return of the Jedi when Leia is hiding behind the tree on Endor with Wicket, and the first time a stormtrooper shoots at it, the laser just kind of comes out of the trees from nowhere. I think that it's cool that you don't see the Predator, so the laser just suddenly appears and shoots.
No, so, and to your point, Eric, you still don't see the Predator here when it fires a shoulder cannon. I think they just kind of had like a little spark squib, and in the beginning of the minute, similarly, when he's looking up in the trees, I've looked at this first few seconds, you don't see the Predator at all. You're not going to see the Predator until the next 30 seconds. I might be wrong, and someone might find that. Like people have been saying all movie, like, oh, there he is. Like you can see him, the first 10 minutes in, he's just hiding in the tree invisible. But I'm not seeing any indication. We know he's not invisible anymore because he had to switch it off due to like a faulty wrist gauntlet, whatever cloaking device. When Arnold shot the tree with shot the log with the explosive arrow. So it's maybe not that surprising that you can't see him, that he's still supposed to be such a good hunter. He's almost invisible even right here.
So what do you guys think of Arnold's plan here? His plan to draw out the Predator with this rock.
Well,
that's ultimately what he's doing, right?
Yeah, and I gotta say that the Predator is way too easily fooled. I mean, this is an amateur mistake. He gives up his position immediately, and I think that goes back to the theory you guys floated way back that this is maybe this guy's first, training ground or something like that, because he immediately gives up his position.
Oh, I was just going to agree and say, like, you can, like, even in the Predator vision, he must see that this thing he's firing at is not Dutch. Like, it looks like a rock. Even the Predator vision. So he's firing at it. Maybe it's his quick reaction to it. Like he sees something move, he just fires without thinking, But you're right, Eric. Like it gives away his position immediately. It seems like an amateur mistake.
I mean, he did something similar, right? Like I was kind of maybe kind gosh, it was a while back, but when Dutch fires, maybe not a while back, just a few minutes ago, but when Dutch fires the explosive bow and arrow at the Predator on the log, the Predator totally exposes himself, and he's like kind of marching on a log and not firing on it at all.
Yeah.
Prior to the time when Dutch fires an explosive arrow at him. So I'm kind of of the opinion that like the Predator is still kind of playing coy. Maybe I know this goes back against what I just said a minute ago, but I think the Predator is playing a little bit coy in that he is maybe giving away his position just enough so hopefully he can draw out Dutch. Like he's trying to do like you're saying, Eric or Jeff, I can't remember who said at the beginning. Sorry, the whole cat and mouse angle of this is really picking up here. Like I imagine the Predator knows that if he fires at this little rock, knowing that it's not Dutch, that some reaction is going to happen because we're going to see what happens in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily just call it a night after blowing the crap out of that rock. He's like, maybe there's more to this.
Yeah, and I imagine at this point, the Predator still does not see Dutch as a major threat. I can't, I mean, he did get that arrow, that blow-up arrow on him. But other than that, I still think he's just feels like he's probably toying around with this thing in the jungle, the way a cat might toy around with a mouse. Now, Dutch is going to prove him wrong here, in fact, pretty quick. But that might be his mindset. Maybe that's why. He just saw something move and shot at it and didn't really care if it exposed his position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still so arrogant of a hunter. And,
right.
Yeah, he can take him on no matter what happens. Yeah, because earlier on when Dutch is swimming out of the water and he's covered in mud and the Predator is looking at Dutch but not seeing him, and then the Predator kind of kicks over. Oh, no, you know what? He did fire a laser at that thing, too. It was like another little like Mexican porcupine.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
When he came out of the water. So, yeah, I think the Predator is just kind of like impulsive, maybe. I don't know. It's like my theory is going to change every movie. Or sorry, my theory is just going to be changing like every minute.
Right.
It's like, oh, no, he's smarter than that. Oh, no, he's way dumb, or he's young and impulsive. Yeah, I guess I'm going to go back to young and impulsive and like a little bit arrogant.
Well, do you guys have anything else to add about this first section before we move on to the next 30 minutes? 30 seconds, sorry.
Woo.
Wow, you really had me back for a long episode.
Yeah, right. Buckle in, everybody.
I'm good for the first part.
I'm good.
Okay. So, to the second part of the minute. This will be from second 31 till the end. We cut back to Predator vision, and the red triangle sight starts coming together as the Predator scans the jungle until he zooms into a patch of black and blue. We cut back to the peeking Dutch, who quickly ducks down as a laser blast explodes right next to his head, causing him to roll away from the rocks. He rolls into a crouch, from which he launches his spear at the Predator's location, creating a huge explosion in the trees and causing the Predator to roar and move out of the tree. We then cut back to Dutch, now on the move, as he crouch/walks toward the camera, sharp spear in hand, until he pauses to look up at the trees, when he then spies some green blood on a nearby rock. ... End of minute.
Eric, so what are you taking away from the second part?
The first thing is that as cool as the targeting graphic was in the first half of the minute, it's even cooler in this one. Because here we see like the lines flying in from the side and forming the triangle like he's, it's like it's tracking what he's going to shoot at before he shoots it. And it's just, again, it's another cool 80s graphic.
Yeah, it's like in a first-person shooter, if you have like a crosshairs that maybe comes into focus or kind of lights up as you like center in on a target. That's kind of what's happening here, right? Like as he's moving, you see these different parts coming together, and then it locks in when he has his thing in sight. It's a really cool. Again, it's kind of an 80s, video game graphic, but I think it's effective. I really like the way it feels.
Yeah, as you were saying that, Eric, I was thinking about more about like modern warfare video games where like you have to paint a target with a laser before you can actually fire the thing sometimes or drop the bomb on that target. So I wonder if this is part of the mechanism for having to fire the laser. I could probably research the shoulder cannon sometime and learn a little bit. But if he's having to like kind of paint it from his mask, at least, I wonder if that's required before he fires the laser, or if he can just kind of fire the laser willy-nilly like he did a few minutes ago from the log up into the trees.
I love this sequence. After the targeting happens and we get the laser blast from the Predator, we see Dutch kind of ducking behind this log, and it doesn't hit him, but he barely seems phased. And we get this pretty awesome, like, tuck, roll, and then stand up and throw the spear. Like, it's pretty sweet.
It is like 100% a hunter move, like someone hunting a big game would do, like dodge the attack, roll away, and just chuck a spear at it and just hope to land a killing blow with that. Love it. It's like 100% action right there.
Yeah, and he gets on target. We find out soon that he must have caused a little damage here. So good job, Dutch, with that toss. That's a long throw if you look at the distance he had to huck that thing.
Yeah.
And now that answers our question about the little spears from last minute, right? So you were right that the blunt end of that one spear was an explosive device.
Yeah, so you must have had, 2 grenades at least handy, one to make the arrow that exploded and one to also make a spear explosive. He just keeps hitting the Predator with explosions, and the Predator is like I said a few minutes ago, the Predator is kind of like the action hero in his own movie right now, because he's like taking all these blows and just like kind of shaking them off a little bit, like, oh, like now I have like a shoulder scratch or something like that, or now I just can't turn invisible. Oh, that's a big bummer. But he's still on the move. He's still jumping out of trees and maybe trying to escape at this point. I don't really know.
Yeah, you see him after that explosion. He kind of jumps down from his perch, and then we don't see him again after that. So he's moving. Some
more good sparks. And if you guys ever played, I mean, this is like right away reminiscent. If you ever played one of those gopher, hammer games in the arcade where the little gophers are popping up their head, like that part is like so funny to me. It's about second 38, 39, where the laser focuses on something. We don't really see what he focuses on, but we see Dutch pop his little head up and like the explosion like scares him away enough where he can, get out of there in time without having his head blown off. But it's just such a funny little moment to have Arnold popping his head up, then having to duck down to dodge the laser. It really made me think of that arcade game.
I might have to bring back my GIF game and make a little GIF out of that head bob right there.
Can you laser the Dutch or something like that?
Right. Eric, what do you think about this little run that we get from Dutch through this trench with the camera right in front of him? I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool shot. It's got a little bit of a sort of, because it's like underneath him, looking up at him, and he's covered in the mud. It's got like a real visceral hunter, man in nature kind of feel to it.
Arnold makes a really good like Cro-Magnon caveman for sure, a Paleolithic hunter. I love it.
Yeah. He's a much larger, meaner Encino Man for sure.
Stop wheezing the whatever he says. Don't wheeze the juice.
I love
that. That came out in '92. Wait a
shit! Oh, beautiful.
So, yeah.
I love this little shot here. It's Arnold looks so menacing, and I think it's just pretty cool camera work too. This seems like it's got to be handheld camera work right here.
It's double handheld because it starts in front of him coming at the camera, cuts to behind him, still walking the same way, cuts back to in front of him. That is, I mean, it's such simple editing, but it's like it's incredible when it just seamlessly blends like that. Yeah,
it works really well. They do a good job with it. And then we get Arnold kind of standing up, giving us a nice pose right around second 54. Like that's a pretty badass kind of striking hunter pose right there, I have to say.
Yeah, that'd be a good like profile picture or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong holding that spear. And I originally said that spear with the sharp end was his knife. Is that still looking at second 53? Is that still looking like his life support knife? To me, it looks more like I don't know, like a kind of a small katana or something like that with the size of that blade. In some shots, I think it might be a little inconsistency.
Yeah.
Where in some shots it looks like his kind of just his life support knife, and some it looks like a small, like small sword.
Yeah, it's I think it's supposed to be his knife, but it definitely looks exaggerated.
In some shots, but some shots like later on towards the end of the minute, it still looks like a regular size, whatever, like hunting knife you'd use in the jungle.
Is it about the same size as the one you have strapped to your thigh right now?
Mine's a little bigger.
Right. Of course it is.
Of course it is. That's what we all say.
All right. Well,
have you guys ever thrown like an explosive device? It doesn't have to be like military grade. It could just be like, have you ever thrown a firework? I'm sure you have. I know I grew up in Tennessee just dorking around with fireworks during the summertime.
I have a very vague memory at some point in high school with some friends throwing firecrackers, but I don't really remember anything other than literally a vague memory of some point throwing a firecracker in high school.
Sure.
Yeah, I've never really thrown it. I think I told you my story about like trying to make a tennis ball bomb, and really it was quite underwhelming.
Okay.
Have you ever thrown like an explosive? Like,
I mean, only like the kind of minor fireworks that you could.
Okay. Never a grenade or something.
Never grenade. Never something like that. We'd occasionally throw like a firework within a glass bottle into a lake and then watch that explode, and that was cool.
That was always like the ultimate weapon when you were a kid. Like in my mind, the ultimate weapons to have were grenades and a flamethrower. If I had those things, I would be unstoppable.
But is it the beginning of Lethal Weapon 3 where they're taking out the guy with the flamethrower?
Oh, yeah.
The gas tank, or is that 4? I can't remember.
I can't remember, but if it's 3, nice tie-in.
Yeah, good tie-in. We'll say it is, and prove us wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, at the very end of the minute here, we get a shot of the green ooze, the secret of the ooze.
Ooh, secret of the ooze.
Yeah. Now, this is not the first time we've seen the predator's blood, but we haven't seen it in a very long time, right? Didn't Anna see it long ago on a leaf?
Yes, she's the one who inspires, like minutes down the road, like from when she discovered it. Like a lot of movie time has passed before she even mentions it, saying when the big man was killed, you must have wounded it. Something about the blood, and then he says his big line, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
But yeah, I don't think we've seen the blood other than, when she picks it up, but I think we see it also when the predator is healing itself. But yeah, you're right, Jeff. It's been a while since we saw some predator blood. It's about flipping time, and this is leading to one of my favorite scenes of the movie, which I think we see at the end of minute 93. So I'm excited to talk about that.
And this is Dutch's first real strike.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess you could call the arrow a strike, seeing as the arrow was blown up about a foot away from the predator, but
they never showed us any real predator damage. No, this is the first time that we really get an idea that he's actually been wounded.
I wonder if you're watching this in 1987 in the theater, if you're like cheering or if you're just thinking like, well, he just hit it with the arrow and that didn't do much. But I think as soon as you see that blood at the end of this minute, I think maybe you're feeling a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. Your boy just got a shot in.
Yeah. Are you guys confident as he's finding this blood at the end of this minute?
I'm feeling pretty confident. But I know what's going to happen next minute.
Oh, okay. You already know.
All right. Well, unless you guys have anything else to add about this second section, we can close up this minute.
Yeah, let's close it up. Let's jump towards the weekly recommends. If Eric, you don't have anything else to add.
Not for this minute.
So this is the section of the show where we recommend basically anything to the audience, the ether, if you will, the listeners. So Eric, why don't you start us off being the guest? What do you have to recommend to the listeners?
Well, this is we'll date this episode here. We're recording this in our this is month number 814 of quarantine at this moment.
That's
Each one's a little bit longer.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So that allows time for lots of binge watching of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a show from quite a few years ago, so it's not a new show, but I just binged it over the last couple of months. And it was easy to binge because it was only, I think, 16 or 18 episodes total. Vice Principals on HBO.
Huh.
If you have to definitely like dark and really out there humor.
Is that the one with Danny McBride?
Yes, and Walton Goggins.
Yes, I saw a couple episodes of it for whatever reason. I never finished them, but I remember it being very funny.
Yeah, it's definitely a very specific kind of humor. If you don't like really dark stuff, you're not going to like it. But I found it very enjoyable. It was, it actually had like a beginning, a middle, and end. I read about it after I finished binge, and it turns out they specifically set out to make it 18 episodes from the start. So they had a plan all along, and you could see that in the through lines throughout, and very, very interesting, very over the top. It's not, I thought it was going to be about vice principals set in kind of the real world, and it's the real world, but all kinds of crazy things happen that would never happen in the real world. So as long as you know that going in, it's enjoyable. Definitely a lot of dark humor.
Nice.
Man, I'll have to check that out because as Jeff and I are both teachers,
Yes,
I feel like a big thing we're going to miss here in the beginning, teaching remotely, is that a lack of interacting with other teachers, administrators, and students. So maybe it'll scratch the itch a little bit.
Yeah.
and of course, you guys can reveal now to all your coworkers listening, you guys really hate your vice principals, right?
No comment.
I love my vice principals. They're the best. Seriously.
I like you, Eric, have been binging things and watching a lot of TV, and I gotta come correct and recommend the new iteration of Unsolved Mysteries that dropped onto Netflix recently.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys were a fan of the original series back in the day.
Update.
Yeah, but that was a show that I would sort of like casually watch if I came across it. And some of the episodes were, sort of creepy and kind of fun to watch. And the new version of the show is really, really well done. Each episode is really like a little 1 hour mini documentary on an unsolved crime, and they're done pretty well. And you have to get over the fact that all these questions are raised, and then in the end, you don't get any answers. But they present every mystery, every story from a lot of different angles, and allows you to kind of make your own thoughts and predictions about what you think actually happened in a really fun way. So, check out Unsolved Mysteries, the brand new series on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who is hosting?
They don't really have a formal host.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just more done in like a documentary style.
Probably because Robert Stack just killed it so good.
Right.
Yeah, you can't live up to Robert Stack.
No. Who can replace that voice, really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who can replace that voice?
So, John, what do you have to recommend in your neck of the woods?
I can hint a little bit of.
What are you talking about?
It's going to be weird, or it's going to be more typical. This will be the typical one. Sarah and I watched an awesome Netflix movie the other night called Eurovision. It details the journey of a little Icelandic group. It's a fictional movie. It's not real, but it details this Icelandic group going to the big Eurovision finals, this big song competition that's held in Europe every year. It's a real deal. I'd never heard of Eurovision until I saw the movie and then researched it. Apparently, Will Ferrell, who co-wrote the movie and stars in the movie with Rachel McAdams, he has a huge love of Eurovision ever since he married his wife, who's from Sweden, I think it is. And he loves Eurovision so much that he, produced, wrote, stars in this movie, really showcasing what Eurovision's all about, including, of course, like this dramatic telling of one of the groups coming from a little tiny town in Iceland and really putting Eurovision on its ear, just doing an awesome job. And the performances are fun and wacky by Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams and Dan Stevens, of course. I know a favorite of yours, Jeff from The Guest.
Yep.
He plays a fun character. And it's just overall, I'd say like a really pleasant movie. There's not like a lot of meanness or spite in it, and like the songs are original. They're sung by, I believe, former Eurovision finalists or Eurovision contestants, and it's just a fun little movie. It's sweet, but those songs are definitely earworms. They'll stick with you. So check out Eurovision. It's a Netflix original, so you'll find it on Netflix.
Nice. Yeah, that's a fun one. We watched that too. It's if you're looking for a light comedy with some heart, check it out. It's fun. Lots of music too.
Yeah. Eric, had you ever heard of Eurovision?
The movie? No. I guess
contest.
The cuts. I mean, I'm not a reality TV competition person.
Sure.
So I'm not really tuned into that. So it does sound familiar, Eurovision, though. I'm assuming it's like a Europe version of American Idol, basically.
It kind of is, but I think if I remember, this has been around since the 50s or the 60s, so it definitely predates.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's been around for a long, long time, and they allude to that in the movie a few times. Where you might be watching, not knowing about Eurovision and thinking like they're making so much of this up, but it's totally this what is the word I'm looking for? This proto
institution.
Proto institution that like we base so many of our song and other live contests on.
Nice.
Yeah, 1956 it looks like was the first year it was hosted.
All right, well guys, I think we did it.
I think we did. So now's the time where we talk about where we can find our esteemed guest and co-host and show, of course. But Eric, where can people check you out?
Well, they can, check me out. I only allow my wife to do that. As far as listening to my podcasts, if you go to growlermedia.com, GROWLER, growlermedia.com, you can find Flemish Gordon Minute and Escape from New York Minute, and they're both on all of the big pod catchers as well, so they're easy to find. And I don't know, I guest on various Movies by Minute things also, like Predator Minute and other things as well, but that's the big two things, the ones that I co-hosted.
Awesome. Speaking of big things you co-hosted, Jeff, where can people find you?
Well done. You can find me on the Twitter, Carl_Hungus314. I am Jeff Glover. Come follow me there.
My name is Carl. Ich bin expert.
John, where can we find all things Predator Minute?
Well, you can find us on the Twitter sphere at Predator Minute. You can email the show, predatorminute@gmail.com. Unfortunately, no new emails have come in since the last episode for us to read, but feel free to email the show and I will read out your emails. That's kind of a fun little challenge, and a few people have risen to that challenge and sent me some things, including the Quint speech from Jaws, which I read last minute. But you can also join the listeners group on Facebook. It is the Predator Minute Listeners Palapa. Targets the center of the Palapa.
Targets the center of the Palapa.
Targets the center of the Palapa.
Targets the center of the Palapa.
Targets the center of the Palapa.
So for all things Predator Minute 92, I've been John Zabriskie.
And I am Jeff Glover. And with us today...
Oh, I didn't know if I was supposed to say my name yet.
I know, we didn't prep you for that. Yeah.
And I've been Eric Deutsch.
Hey, thanks, Eric, for being here again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been really fun having you, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And until next time,
stick around.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Stick around.
All right. Well, you got your Captain Morgan's. Did you mix that with a little Coca-Cola or something?
I mix it with a little milk, a little raw milk, and ice. A lot of ice.
Raw milk and ice. Jesus.
Milk?
Are you okay?
No. That sounds heinous.
I like my cream and mixed with my alcohol. It's so good. Like some half and half and like tequila. Oh, it's so good. It's like an alcoholic milkshake.
Oh, wow. Well, see, I slightly can get on board with this because I do enjoy like eggnog with spiced rum. So go. I understand how the creamy could mix in all right. But
it's exactly the same.
You're kicking it up a notch with raw milk and ice. That's fucking brutal. All right. Just do it.
We're a raw milk household. Like raw milk is like, that's a strong recommend. Like that does not give me like the tummy trouble.
Recommend this
milk. That's your recommend. Leading off of
that. It probably should be. I'm not going to start off with a recommend, but
oh Jesus, I recommend raw milk and diarrhea.